Hello. I really like to share my experience and my opinion about some audio gear, and when it's something unusual, it's a double pleasure, and today I got such a review. Today for review I've got headphones made by Slovenian company OLLO Audio, and probably they can be called a startup because founders of this company decided to achieve really interesting goal. They decided to create the headphones with most linear frequency response. They promote this model as a model for the studio monitoring and for professional usage, but I'm not even close to the to such experience, to such usage, and I tested these headphones from the audiophile perspective, from the perspective of the regular person who wants to listen to the music. And this model is named S4R, and it's a really interesting experience, I need probably to name a price. They cost $290, and I think that's pretty much all I can say about them. Now let's have a closer look. And unusual experience starts from packaging. Actually, this headphones doesn't have some fancy box, some fancy package. They just arrive in the regular recycled cardboard box they used for postage. Just few stickers and few labels about the headphones model. And inside you will have this warning about handling these headphones, so don't press down on headphones, it can probably damage the diaphragm. Here is the results of frequency response measurement. As you can see, it's really flat. And a short manual with additional information. Probably the most interesting, of course, it's technical specifications. Speaker size 50 millimeters, ear cup size, ear pad size, frequency response from 20 Hz to 22 kHz, sound pressure level 114 decibels and 32 ohms of impedance. So really good sensitivity, really good technical specifications. And what is the most interesting, actually inside you will just have headphones and accessories wrapped in regular paper. It's probably the noisiest unboxing in my history. So you will have leather pouch for storage, cable, 6.3mm adapter, and headphones themselves. So there are two stickers hand built on the edge of the Alps, and it's true because Slovenia is really close to the Alps, really close to the Italian border. And actually here is the explanation why they decided not to spend resources on the additional package. They just want to make our planet a better place to live, and I think it's a great idea, because who needs actually some super fancy box? So just probably the most eco-friendly package ever. In terms of design, they are really good. It's case when a company has their own style. OLLO Audio produced two models, S4 and S4R, and R stands for recording, and the difference is pretty obvious. S4 is opened back with this grill, and S4R is closed back, so it's a totally solid back part of the cups. As you can see, design is probably a bit minimalistic, but it's implemented really nicely. So good wood, you can see different texture, cups are different, even have a bit different tint, but they are made of same piece of wood, and actually they are pretty thick, so they will be really durable, at least I suppose, but they look really durable. Headband is made of two arches made of stainless steel, and that provides good clamping force. Headpad is automatically adjustable. You just wear them on, and then they are finding proper position on your head automatically. Headpad is made of real leather, really soft, it's even pleasant to touch. As you can see, all stitches are done perfectly, all build quality is really good as well as finish, so everything is built really well. Ear pads are a bit smaller than the regular ones, so they are not fully circumaural. They are pressing edges of your ear a little bit, but for me it's not a problem. I used to this fit in 10 minutes, and after that I found them really comfortable. Ear pads are really soft. They are made of some velvet-like artificial leather, really pleasant to touch. Actually, in the manual they mentioned that after about 1000 hours of usage you need to replace them. There is some damper inside of ear cups, and I think overall look is pretty stylish. They fitting nicely, and what I like also, they are pretty lightweight, and thanks to the open back design, they are really comfortable even during long listening sections. I'm not sure about studio usage, but in everyday usage and during the long listening sessions they are super comfortable, especially now when it's getting hot outside. Cables are made replaceable, so no proprietary connection, just regular 2.5 millimeters connectors. So let's left cup, right cup, and that's all. Upper part of cable is in rubber isolation, then goes splitter, and it goes way down to the jack in this nylon isolations. So cable has low microphonics. It's not tangling, really comfortable, nothing fancy, but it's the case when cable does its jobs well, and it's done in reasonable approach. So in terms of design and build quality and all related stuff, I think OLLO Audio S4 is really good, especially if we took a price into account. And of course about the sound. I gave these headphones about 40 hours of burn-in, and I didn't notice any significant sound change, so probably they don't require any burn-in. And speaking about their representation, these headphones are an interesting example of how subjective our hearing is. What you can expect from the headphones with linear frequency response. Probably almost every major audiophile will say that they should sound monitoring, neutral, and probably sometimes some will say that they should sound bright without low accent. But actually sound is quite an opposite, because our treble perception is reduced comparing with mid frequencies, and for headphones to sound really natural and linear, headphones with such sound should have accent on the treble, and S4 doesn't have this accent, and because of that, actually subjective perception of sound of these headphones are on the darker side. They sounding a bit dark, but surprisingly at the same time they doesn't sound warm, because they don't have low accent at the same time. It's pretty, I can say that it's a unique sound signature, being dark without being warm. Maybe it sounds a bit strange, but it's a really tasty sound, especially if you are a fan of a bit analog representation. So let's have player on the table and let's proceed. Of course, bass here is really nice. It's not dominating, it's polite in terms of quantity, but it's really good in terms of quality. It's really one of the best headphones in this price range, full-size headphones, and maybe even the best one that I've heard, because bass is deep and it has a perfect balance of resolution and weight. You know, it's common when you're adding more resolution, you are losing weight. When you're adding weight, you are losing resolution. So natural and natural representation is something in between, and these headphones nail this aspect really nicely. They are deep with good texture representation and without absolutely any accent. So if you got used to some accent at low frequencies, probably S4 isn't a model for you, because they don't have such accent, and at first they can sound a bit bass light, but after short usage, you know, I really fell in love to their bass signature, because it's really good in terms of balance, in terms of general representation, and they sounding really natural, and natural is number one priority for me. As an example, well, example isn't really natural for me, but it's one of the best tracks for bass testing that I have, besides some test CDs. It's Tempest by Juno Reactor, and the first half of this tune, they have a lot of really deep going rumbling sounds with really low tone, and these headphones, you know, really great in representing this part. It sounds really impressive. So, really agile bass that I like. But of course, mid frequencies are number one priority in these headphones, because they were created for the professional sound engineers in mind, and of course, they were created to have the best sounding mids, and they definitely are. It's not, of course, not as good as in some top of the line planars or some $1,000 headphones, but you know, for this price they are really nice, really resolving with good resolution, and at the same time they are not going into micro detalization, and they are not going into that nitpicking, they are not accenting any issues in the tracks. You know, when there are some problems, you will definitely hear them, but these headphones won't exaggerate these problems. And also, important criteria for me, I like weight. And they are putting proper weight both in vocals, and they giving proper weight to all instruments. Proper weight means proper imaging, proper instruments representation, and proper sense of realism. And of course, imaginary stage is also pretty nice. They are not super spacious, you know, it's not some top of the line planars. Imaginary stage is a bit above average in width and about average in depth, but at the same time layering, you know, it's perfect. It's really lifelike, and same applies to the instrument separation. All instruments have realistic sizes, realistic positioning, and so on. Especially it sounds impressive with binaural recordings. And as an example, they're also, by the way, really emotional, and I got really good example of this for this. It's Bruce Dickinson solo album, The Tower. I like Iron Maiden, I like Bruce Dickinson solo albums, and The Tower is one of his greatest solo tracks. It has really engaging guitar riff, really nice bass guitar work, and these headphones are really good with such music. You know, probably it's of course a bit subjective because it depends on your sonic preferences, but I really like how they deal with emotions and how they represent the guitar's perfect amount of aggression and realism, not fatiguing and so on. And the treble, actually without this peak, headphones sound really polite in terms of treble. So I can definitely recommend this model for those who don't like sharp treble, who don't like accents, who don't like metallic sounding, because treble here is it's nice in terms of resolution, it's lacking a bit of extension, but at the same time, you know, I prefer usually more treble, but of course accented treble won't fit the general representation of these headphones, and I think that all headphones should sound really balanced, and S4 really did this. So treble is actually it's not recessed because frequency response is flat, but it sounds a bit recessed because they don't have any peaks, and because of that treble you know, is really accurate. It's lacking layering, of course, but it's something that you can expect for this price range. Of course, better layering would be nice thing, but at the same time treble is normal. Attacks and decays are a bit faster than they should be, but at the same time it's not a big issue, because, you know, thanks to the absence of the accents, treble here is really balanced with the overall sonic representation. And as an example of treble, I've got another track. I'm not a huge fan of the Scorpions, but their album Eye to Eye I really like. It's probably one of the most experimental albums in their history. They experimented with electronic music, with pop, and even with rap sometimes, and it sounds not as boring as all their other albums. And Skywriter is one of my most favorite tracks. It's really interesting mix of rock music and probably some kind of electronic music, and it has a lot of percussions, of course, and these headphones play them nicely. Of course, to my taste there should be more treble, but for those who are treble phobic it would be a great option. In terms of compatibility, in terms of sources, you know, they are pretty universal. They don't require a lot of power, so you can select your favorite player and they will play. They will show actually how does this player sound. Because of zero accents, they will just represent it. So, to summarize everything about the sound, great headphones for those who like a bit analog, probably a bit vintage, but really natural, really resolving, really technical sound signature without treble accent. So they subjectively they sound on the a bit on the darker side, but objectively they are totally linear. Really interesting experience, and I definitely can recommend them, especially if they will be a second headphones in your collection, just to taste something totally different. Speaking about comparisons, you know, of course I've got few models from this price range, for example Meze 99 series or German Maestro, but actually all other headphones sounds totally different. For example, Meze have more low frequencies and more treble, a bit more accented treble, but at the same time mids in Meze is more recessed, so pretty different signature both subjectively and objectively. German Maestro is more linear, a bit on brighter side, also quite an opposite sounding. So I don't know any other model with similar sound signature. So probably it's time to make some conclusion. You know, it's really interesting model. Maybe, you know, it's not universal and I can't say that go grab them instantly, it's an instant buy or something like that, but I can just share my subjective experience. I really like these headphones, even despite that I prefer more treble. I like their natural sound, their neutrality, but not too analytical sound. Actually, it's analytical, but it's well, it's hard to explain. You know, it's not that kind of analytical sound when all the smallest nuances will be highlighted. It's the sound when you can hear that nuances, but they won't be thrown right into your face. And I like that they are pretty comfortable and lightweight, and they don't require super powerful source. OLLO Audio also have S4R closed back version of these headphones. I suppose to test them in some future. And also they have interesting offer. They have Play for Me. It's a tactile subwoofer, headphone amplifier and headphone system that allows you to achieve the realistic bass that is impossible to achieve using only headphones. Also pretty interesting thing. Maybe I will also test it in some future. So if you want to hear your music without any coloration, if you like natural representation, and especially if you don't like accented treble, it's definitely a model worth your attention. Great build quality, really mature and unusual sound, and really reasonable price, at least compared to other headphones releasing nowadays. Thank you for attention.